I also, you used the word humbled. I also feel very humbled, I think, in so many ways. I almost feel troubled to add any words on top of anything that Ati and Magdalena just told us, because I just sort of want to take a moment to honor what we just heard and to really say to Magdalena, gracias por presentarnos de nuevo con...
Thank you very much for showing the sacred features of nature.
To rediscover what is sacred in our relationships with the world around us and to reconnect with nature. Thank you so much. I feel very emotional actually coming after that, and her call to kind of soften our hearts, I think, has had a real impact. I've felt very grateful throughout this whole event, grateful for everything, grateful for the participation, grateful for the challenges that we've heard. And in a spirit of gratitude, I must just do what always needs to be done at the end of events like this. I don't know how many people here have actually tried to organize an event like this or really understand what it takes, the kind of energy and dedication to detail and the sort of love that's put into every detail to make this happen. And so to the team that have really given it their all over the last months, to Sylvia, to Agustina, to Elena, to Claire, to all of their amazing colleagues at Abacus, to the volunteers who are here throughout this event, and every year we have an amazing group of volunteers, to the people you don't see, the translators and the technicians who make it all run so smoothly and never get a chance to maybe be thanked for what they do. Of course, to all of our speakers, to the workshop leaders that we had, to our Future Fair exhibitors, and to you all in the audience with everything that you brought, and I mean everything that you brought to being here at this event. Thank you so much. I also want to say something that's never very sexy, and maybe it's a super capitalist thing to say, to have to thank sponsors, but I want to say something that actually it's really hard to put on an event like this if you don't have partners that get it and that actually accompany you in doing it. And this is not an easy event to sell to anybody. Somehow the audience is too diverse, somehow it's not businessy enough, somehow we're too much dreamers here, and it's really hard. So genuinely a heartfelt thanks to the organizations that have accompanied us to make it possible, to Hola Luz, to Agencia de Residuos de Catalunya, and to Oxfam Intermon. I'm also really happy that this event continues to have its home in Barcelona. I do think of this as a city that is trying to tell us a story about what the future of cities could be, that there is an understanding here of the idea of communities and what a city trying at least to be in service to its citizens looks like. And also that this event has its home in a cooperative with Abacus. That feels really important to me, to be part of a co-op that can maybe offer us as well another model for what the organizations of the future can be. What does ownership look like? I want to return to offer some thanks again to Oxfam Intermon and all they did to bring the amazing group of activists here with all that they've brought to us. And I really want to think about what it meant to hear about this idea that courage really does mean leading with the heart, but to really recognize as well that this is not supposed to be some kind of performative exercise where we all go, it was lovely to have a bunch of young activists here, wasn't that great? I understand. I really hope that for everybody here, when we go back to our lives and our work and our organizations, we will be able to show that we, more than just celebrating the presence, that we really listened to what we were being told about what these brave young people want, their critiques, their challenges. Some of what I heard was, we need support, we need a seat at the table, we want the positions in the boards and in the committees and in the governance structures, maybe if only to overthrow them, but we need a place in those rooms where the decisions are being made that affect our lives and the lives of our communities and the lives of future generations. We want our work to be funded, and we want you to withdraw support from the work that simply sustains the current system. And we are being asked to back the campaigns that these young people are telling us matters and that they lead so brilliantly, like make the rich polluters pay. And I think this is a different model of leadership. I feel like I've heard quite a lot over these last few days, maybe about what a different model of leadership could look like, that it's collective leadership, that we are together rethinking what actually is a good life for everybody. How do we unleash the imagination? How do we make space for our emotions? How do we give people a chance to actually experience a better future? Because if you give people that opportunity, what we hear over and over again is that they will choose to move towards it. And so we heard from 25 projects that I think do offer some different models of things that could be done differently. And the idea wasn't to put people up on a stage and have an audience sat simply listening. It's to try to understand this work as work that people can get involved with, that you could support, that you could choose to collaborate with, that you are very free to challenge, that you can be inspired by, that you can get involved in, because every participant here has contributed to our reflections on mindsets, on communities, on resources, on education, on art, technology, nature, and really what it would mean to have a completely new economy in service to life. And to me, that's why an event like this matters, because in fact, if we gather in person with shared intent and many, many different opinions, and if we allow space and can open up our feelings, as well as sharing ideas about what solutions look like, and if we can ignite our imaginations, then we can do so much. Fixing the future, to echo what Andrea just said, and something that I feel very strongly, is not a series of solitary heroes' journeys. That's a narrative we've been sold over and over again. It is a collective endeavor, and it is filled with the power and the joy of collective action. And all of you, each and every one of you beautiful and brilliant people, with your love and your care and your courageous, courageous hearts, you can fix the future. Thank you. And now I get to do I'm going to do a linguistic switch. Let's see how it goes, because now it's my pleasure, es mi placer.
I'm going to welcome and introduce Eugenio Ampudia, and we are going to talk about his job and what he does, this relationship with nature. Eugenio, please join us. He's an artist. Multidisciplinary artist with a lot of awards received, and he has done a lot of pieces that have been exhibited in all over the world, and also a very kind person. And it is a pleasure to have this conversation with him. We have 15 minutes, so we decided to talk about some of your performances that convey a message about the emergency and our relationships between the different species, the sacred relationship with nature that Madalena mentioned. So we are going to see in Portuguese, salvai as nossas ánimas, save our souls. So please tell us while we see it in the back. What's this? Well, it is basically a performance about the pantheon where the most important men and women are buried on top of a hill. And we launched this SOS for climate and for the planet, as it is on top of a hill. The city received this communication, it's like a lighthouse. This is like the green flag in this case that is so obvious in such an emblematic building. It is in the Morse code, yes. If you see the lights, they are switching on and off, and it's a point, hyphen, hyphen, point, which is the SOS. And the alert is what exactly? What are you trying to tell them or tell us? Well, we have a problem with climate, with the climate, and all the citizens should be engaged and involved. And if we are not engaged, and if this message does not get to everybody, we will not be able to change the climate crisis, because you criticize the concept of Anthropocene. And well, to me, the Anthropocene, the period in which we human beings have managed this planet, is a failure, a complete failure. We have failed in everything. We brought the species to extinction or to the brink of extinction, and we need to think about different ways to establish relations with the rest of the species in which we are all equal. And I think that culture and art give us a good possibility to establish this relationship peer-to-peer with the planet. So there is another performance that it's pretty intimate, where we can see nature in a different way, like something that is alive. It's called Weeds. Explain us. Well, Weeds talks about the need to explain that we human beings are also nature. There is an absurd separation between our species and the other species, this prepotence, and how we use the other species. And this performance wants to show empathy. So we want to breathe, and the soil and the planet breathe at the same time. We all breathe together. So there is a Spanish poet, Javier Zelaya, with a love of poetry that said, as you breathing 13 times per minute, I think it was the ideal times, the ideal breath that we can take. So when we implemented it, we saw that a lot of people was breathing, and was breathing maybe too fast. So we reduced the frequency down to 11 breaths per minute. It's 3 meters diameter, and it goes up 60 centimeters. And I thought that maybe it would dry, but no, it really grows more because there is more oxygen, and then the grass grows 15% more because it gets more oxygen. So it was good for the grass. It definitely was. So it's it's not wheat, maybe it's grass. Yeah. So now we're gonna talk about a recent project that is super beautiful, and I'm in love with it. The concert for the Pliocene. So explain the story of this concert, in which the audience was not the typical audience in the Liceo. Well, this concert, it was 20th of June 2020, and when the lockdown started to be lifted, and this is the Liceo and all the seats, and we placed in each one of the seats a plant. We put a plant on the seats, and we wanted the plants to survive, so we made everything in a single day, and then the following day it was a concert that was broadcasted in streaming, and then the following day we gave the plants away to the nurses and doctors in the clinic hospital in Barcelona, who had been working for the past 3 months very intensely trying to save our lives. And well, the Liceo season was opened by with this performance, and it was like an inflection point, establishing a different relationship with the spectators and viewers. We all know that plants react to music, and they prefer one music than the other. It is proven, which is the piece. It is Puccini Crisanteme, and it's a very sad song. Puccini, well, his friend Amadeo de Savoia had died, so it's like a requiem for his friend, and we had to transmit and convey this feeling of sadness to other species. It is trying to connect with other species from this perspective of being at an equal perspective. Let's listen to it.
Tienes que subir más. ¿Podemos subir más?
¿Puedes subir más?
Era un cuarteto de cuerda, como ves.
And each one of the plants had its place. Everything was full of plants, and we wanted to pay a tribute to nature, because while we were in lockdown in our houses, nature kept on growing and filling all the spaces. So I think it was the best space to put the plants and to listen to this string quartet piece. And it was broadcasted through streaming, and there were a lot of mass media, and 250 million people view this concert. And to us, it's important to explain that we need to have a change of paradigm, and we need to start working with all the other species.
So beautiful.
Bueno,
¿Cómo lo pasaron los músicos?
Bueno, o sea, los músicos.
And how about the artists? Well, they needed some sort of feedback, so we put some funds in the plant so that they could move, and then we cut the movement of the leaves, and then we expanded it. And it turned into an applause. Because the two species are important, both the music, the artists, and the plants. And now we're going to talk about this project, Be a Tree Now. And this is your participative action for climate justice, and that we have in the foyer. I love this proposal to be trees. But how did it start? And what's your hope with this project? Well, this project started after a conversation with Javier Acio, and with the possibility to be produced by Intermon Oxfam and the Spark project in the European Union. And, well, the problem with a COP being organized in Dubai, it must be the worst place. They are so into the fossil fuels industry. So our way to protest could be to join nature, and with the trees we share 65% of the DNA. And they are the symbol of a creature eliminating CO2 and producing oxygen. If trees didn't exist, we could not be on the planet. So being like trees and become trees, I thought it was a very it was a good idea. So we prepared like a dance with the choreography, and it was just wearing something green at the top, and gloves as well, and then to move your arms, and then you can form very different trees. And we wanted them to be exactly the same. We wanted to create all sorts of trees, and we wanted anybody to do it. So we have a QR code so that people can do this at home. Well, it is better with this flat background, but it's not the important thing. And what we need to understand and we want to do is a giant forest that explains that we are also nature and all connected. And this is what we learned from trees, that they communicate, they nurture, and although it's be a tree, the invitation is be a forest. And I'm so bilingual, she said. So we are going to do a final performance, and it's going to turn into a forest, and maybe it will be Let's Be a Forest. So anybody can do it. So I invite you to do it and participate. I think it is the best way to close the festival, to be forests together. And this idea of about climate justice, what does it mean to you? Well, I think that climate justice is the most important thing, the only way to compensate it. And there is a society that is spending a lot of energy and destroying the planet. And there are other societies that don't. So we need to compensate in a way. And we cannot ignore what's going on in other countries. And we need to compensate the impact of climate change, and we have to visualize it. And being Westerns puts us in a horrible position because it seems like these 600 million people, we are just fucking up the world. And for our needs and our interests, and we have to change it and say, what are we doing? And we are not the ones being impacted because we have our air conditioning units, but a lot of people are suffering the impact of the climate change, and we have to compensate it. Because otherwise it would be obnoxious. And we need to think about how to finish the parts of the system that are creating this, not being alibis in this system. And I love to have artistic performances because with new narratives and new ways to visibilize these topics and the participation, we can truly start creating new stories. So now we are going to share the QR code so that you can do it. No, we are going to put the QR code after saying thank you to the technicians. We cannot do it. So the QR code is upstairs, okay? So thank you very much for being so committed with our society in this relationship with nature. Thank you for being here. Thank you. I am so happy to have this bracelet, and because I've been here and listened to the speeches, it's been wonderful. Thank you very much. And now, Sylvia, if she can join us. So this is the end, almost the end, because we still have a little surprise that you will find outside in the foyer when we go to the networking area. And this announcement with Agustina Palazzo, co-curator and project manager. Maybe we should stand up for this announcement that is very important to us. Next appointment, next edition, 2024. 3, 2, 1.
Ya tenemos las fechas de...
So we have the dates for the Fixing the Future 2024. See you. And now we are going to go to the foyer and we're going to finish the event. So thank you very much.